Hi. So my name is Meriam, and I'm a product engineer and cartographer with the Living Atlas Environment team. My demo today is definitely going to be more technical. We've been styling image services in web maps, and I wanted to share with you how we're doing that through the code. So I'll go ahead and get started. So to get started, what are imagery layers? And these are straight up raster layers. There's actually two types in ArcGIS Online. We have tile layers, and I've got some samples here, and these are flattened and compressed for visualization. Everything's baked into these. You probably use the imagery and the world hillshade. But what I'm talking about today are going to be imagery layers, and these are dynamic in nature, and they're special. So these are actually a collection of images as a single service or a carpet of imagery. They're very fast and performant. The tiles render on the client side, so there's no server computation necessary. The original pixel information is preserved, which means you've got multiple bands available. They're analysis ready. They have raster attribute tables, statistics, histograms. Users can interact with them. They have pop-ups. But what we're here for is that you can change the visualization in style. So if you've been in ArcGIS Online, there's an array of default palettes that are available to you. But if you're like me, I want control of every single element on my map and every single color. So let's get to customizing. So in ArcGIS Online, there's a tool called ArcGIS Assistant, and many of you may have used AGO Assist. Well, this is the latest version of the tool, and this can handle workflows with story maps and experience builder, and it's developed by a team at Esri from professional services to handle sort of those housekeeping and more administrative tasks. I like to distill it down to 4 steps to make it easy. So you start with your unstyled image layer. You take that into ArcGIS Pro and you customize your stretched renderer there. Then you go into ArcGIS Assist and modify the RGB values in the JSON file. And then when you save that, it overrides what's in your web map, and that style is retained on your layer. So let me begin. This is the global forest canopy height layer. This is a layer that we just added into the collection. And I styled it with just a green, white palette, default palette, but it's not giving me the detail and the nuance that I want from this layer. And so what I did was I built a palette that pulls out more information, and so you can start to see the different height in the tree canopy. I'm going to zoom in here in Brazil into the Para state. You can see, practically hear the chainsaws running right now. You can see there's quite a bit of deforestation happening here around Altamira, and they're literally cutting down some of the tallest trees here in the rainforest. All right, so let's jump over to ArcGIS Pro. So here's the palette that I created. I style quite a lot of these for the team. You may see that there actually is a bit of yellow. So this palette runs from a yellow-green all the way into sort of a more traditional green, into a green-blue, and into a purple. So I've managed to get 4 different colors into this palette here. And that breaks down like this. And so we've got our 5 colors, one of them gray. And the way that the JSON file reads this actually is in groups. And so I want you to keep that in mind as we move forward. So we start here with our low value in this gray, and it moves into this sort of yellow-green, and then from that yellow-green into the green, and then they kind of move through steps. And this is how the code actually reads these in the JSON. Kind of an aside here, I do a lot of styling on environment layers for the team, so I actually had 3 green palettes that came up right in a row. So the top one here is the global forest canopy height. This one here is precipitation. This one here is evapotranspiration. So I had to come up with a way to style 3 green palettes that went from green to blue and be part of a family, but yet be different. It was quite a challenge. All right, so let's get going. So what I've got here is just a blank web map, and we're gonna kind of walk through about how to style these. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the layer here. Okay, now it is gonna come in with the default palette that I just explained, but I wanna show you how this works. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this map. I'm going to come in here to the ArcGIS Assistant. I'm going to log in. And you might recognize this interface. It's similar to what you'd see in ArcGIS Online. You have your folder structure. You've got all of your different content items. You've got some organization in ArcGIS Online tabs. But let's go ahead and open up the web map that I just saved. This window pops open, and this is where we get into sort of under the hood, the details about how to get this palette applied to this online layer. So I'm going to go ahead and view the item JSON. The first tab is the content information. So this is, my item ID, the title, kind of those, keywords, your, content information. But if I click on data, my operational layer here, here's the layer I just added, Global Canopy Height 2020. But you can see there's no color information. It's because it's just brought this in from ArcGIS Online as a service. So we're going to go back here and start to manipulate it. So I'm going to apply just a basic palette here. We're going to move from black to white. So I'll just select this one. I'm going to click Done. We're going to be saving and moving back and forth quite a bit. So I'll save that, come to my assistant window, I'm going to refresh. And now you see we've got some color information here. So we're moving here from 000, which is black, to white here. So just now I can make my adjustments. Let's go back here, let's try another one. This time let's add 3 colors. So I will grab this one. We'll save. Go back to the assistant window. I'll refresh. And now you see here we've got more color added in. So we move in from this green here into the yellow and then to the red. All right, so what I've done is I've gone ahead and typed up all of my color values so I don't have to sit and type them for you today. But I want to show you the way that this works. So we do have those 5 colors. So we start with this gray here. We move to the next color, that light green. It repeats itself in the code. And then we move into the next color. So we have a series of sets of these color values here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go back in here. Now, to edit your JSON file, you go ahead and click this button. I highly recommend that before you do any editing, you back everything up. So I'll back up my code in a Notepad++ document. If I ever need to go back to it, I can just paste it back in here, and the map will be as it was before. So I'm going to click the Edit button. I'm going to go ahead and just select my colors here. I'll paste these in, like that. I don't have any errors here, so I can just go ahead and click Save. And now I've just overrode anything in my web map, so keep that in mind when you're using this tool. I'll go ahead and refresh. And there we have our palette applied. This is a tool and a trick that we've been using quite a bit on my team, and so I wanted to share it with you because it's not something I knew how to do before, and it's really handy to be able to go in there and adjust these colors with just a few lines of code. I'd like to show you a few other layers that we styled this way. This is the carbon biomass layer from the United Nations. This is the below ground biomass carbon layer. Same technique we used, we just hard-coded these colors in with the ArcGIS Assist tool. This is wheat suitability in 2050. You can see here the palette, stretched palette like that. This is USA transportation noise. That's all I've got. Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'll take them.
Does anybody have any questions? We do have some time for questions. Any questions for Emily?
ArcGIS Assistant. Does that just come with like regular maintenance of an ArcGIS Online organizational account?
Right, you can access it with your ArcGIS Online AD.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah, they call it the Swiss Army knife for your web maps. You can change item IDs in your layers. You can do stuff like this in the code. It's really like under the hood toolbox that you can use to manipulate your web maps.
I second that. It is like the Swiss Army knife. I know a tech support person clued me in on that one time, and I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Emily. We very much appreciate it. A round of applause.